Hi there, Blossums here, and I didn't think this was going to be a reoccurring series on the channel, but Hoyoverse has once again made it quite difficult to get the ascension materials for the brand new characters here in Genshin Impact 3.1, similarly to how it was pretty difficult to get the mushrooms for Cole when she first came out. So today we're going to be talking about it, why it's a bit difficult, as well as giving you guys some tips for farming these actual ascension materials so you don't lose your mind the way I did, searching high and low for each and every one of them. But before we do, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy this type of content or find it useful. I also do plan to have a first impressions video about Cyno and Candace, as well as their respective build guides later on the channel here, so if you want to see that, go ahead and stick around. But let's talk about these ascension mats. So what makes these characters so difficult to farm for? What is the issue? Well, first of all, they take these brand new materials, the Scarabs for Cyno, and then for Candace, she takes two new materials, that being the red fruit and the light guiding tetrahedron. And these materials are all pretty few and far between and scattered throughout the entirety of the brand new map. So if you want to find enough of these materials to get both of these characters to Ascension 4, you're going to need to explore pretty much the entirety of the brand new region, which is kind of a problem in of itself because, well, it's not necessarily difficult to, go find the new boss, go kill it, spend your resin on that, and it's not very difficult to just scour the map and grab all of these, but it does sort of ruin the exploration experience because when a brand new character comes out, you want to use the brand new character, and if you're like me at the later parts of the game, like AR55, then a character really isn't usable until you hit about Ascension 4. And the thing is, there's only enough materials throughout the entire map for you to ascend the character to Ascension 4, and then you'll have like a little bit excess, and then you'll just have to wait a couple of days before you can ascend them again. So if you even want them to be usable for a later game player like me or a lot of other Genshin Impact players, then you're going to need to go throughout the entirety of the brand new map, which kind of just kills the fun of exploring because a lot of the times I just find myself gunning through as fast as I can to find as many materials as I can so I can use my brand new characters and have fun with them. But hey, that's not the only reason. That doesn't make it difficult to actually farm for them, right? And you're right, Candace's materials actually aren't that bad. If you just use the interactive map and you check out Candace's materials, you just got to go over there and grab them. It's not too complicated and none of them are really hidden or, hide behind some sort of quest or something. Unlike somebody else, which is Cynos. If you want to get these Scarabs, this is probably one of the worst material farms I have ever experienced in the game ever. And this is because, well, like Candace, these are few and far between and spread throughout the entirety of the map, which we've already discussed. But on top of that, some of these are below ground and some of these are above ground. So even if you're using the interactive map, you're going to need to check both the above and below ground. But not only that, the ones that are below ground, which is a good portion of them, are locked behind a pretty lengthy side quest that you're going to need to do before you even gain access to grab those materials. And as I said, there's only enough for both of these characters to get to Ascension 4 if you farm every single one of them. And then if you farm every single one of them, you'll only have a few left over and then have to wait a couple of days to wait for them to respawn to grab more and get to Ascension 5 or steal some from a friend. So for Cyno's materials, you have to do this lengthy side quest if you even want to gain access to farm for some of his Scarabs. But not only that, these Scarabs are god awful to farm. And what I mean by that is, for some reason, these Scarabs have a weird radius mechanic to where they don't even appear in your eyesight or anything or visibility for your game until you're within a certain radius of them. You have to be within like 15 to 20 meters before they even appear on the ground. There have been plenty of instances where I have been looking straight at where the Scarab is supposed to be, and they're not there until I'm within a certain radius, and I'm sure I'll be inserting a clip here. So these these are extremely frustrating to farm, especially considering some of them are underground, and it's just a matter of knowing whether the one you're looking for is above ground or below ground. So yeah, you have to be close. There were several instances where I was trying to farm for these guys, and I would look exactly where they were supposed to be, and then I'd turn because I didn't see them and look elsewhere, and I would get closer to where they were supposed to be and turn back, and then they were there. This is a common occurrence, and it's extremely frustrating. But hey, it gets worse. Some of these scarabs are in the wackiest place possible, and we'll take a look at the interactive map here. So first of all, let's just take a brief scan of the region. You'll see that, yeah, you're going to need to go pretty much throughout the whole new area if you want to grab all of these and get them to Ascension 4, as I mentioned before. But some of these scarabs, and I do mean only some, this is literally only 3, maybe 4 that I encountered like this, by the way. I'm just a little upset, so I'm complaining. Some of these scarabs are in some crazy places. These 2 in particular in the bottom right here in the Valley of Dari, I believe, were an exceptional case in that regard. So if you go and look for these beetles, you're not really going to find them, and I couldn't find them at first, and I thought that was weird. But there's also this weird quest that starts whenever you go over here, and essentially this ruin golem is active and it's shooting lasers at you as you try to approach it, and you gotta like stop it or something. And the way you find these 2 scarabs is by dropping down here and having the laser be shot at you to hit a boulder that then explodes to reveal there's 2 scarabs underneath, which I found by pure luck. So if you didn't know that, then you're probably just going to be looking for a while unless the same thing happens to you. And then on top of that, one of the ones over here by the pyramid, I can't remember which one or anything, but it's one of the ones that are underground during the side quest. I was looking in an area and I could not find this particular scarab, and I looked at a vase in front of me and I said, surely not. It's surely not going to be right there where it says it's on the map in the vase. So I shot the vase, and sure enough, it was there in the vase, and I had to break the vase to find the scarab. So that was annoying as well. And as I said, that's literally only a few of them, but it's frustrating that I had to do these weird things in order to gain access to the material. Alright, that's enough complaining for now. How can I actually help you out in farming these materials? Some tips to actually help and guide you so you don't lose your mind like I did. Well, first off, unfortunately, unlike Cole, there is no vendor that sells either of these materials to you in order to help you out. I already checked, so that's unfortunate. I can't really help you there, but how can I help you in your farming process? And as I said, Candace's materials really aren't that bad. If you just go to this spot on the map, on like the interactive map, you'll find that they're generally there. They're not too hard to find. It's just going to take some time and a lot of exploring and a lot of, running around in order to find each and every one of them. As for the scarabs, unfortunately, there really is no easy way to find the scarabs, in my opinion. I just don't think there is, and you have to get close to where they are on the map, and then you still are typically going to have to look around to make sure that they spawned in, and then you're going to have to grab the scarab. But I would say one big tip to you guys is, of course, I did mention the things like one being in the vase and one being in this boulder, but also I wanted to say that if you can't really find one after a little bit, just check it off as being underground, especially if it's over here by the big pyramid. If you can't find one over here in the desert and you're above ground, it's likely underground. A good portion of the underground is over by the pyramid here. I believe there's a little bit of underground business going on over here, and I think maybe 1 or 2 of these is underground, so keep that in mind. But for the most part, everything before the big desert there is above ground, and then there's just a mix of like 50-50 above and below ground over here by the big pyramid. That's my biggest tip for the scarabs. But other than that, yeah, you're literally just going to have to go exactly where they are. Hopefully you're within the right space of radius to actually see them, and then you're going to have to grab them. And as I said, keep in mind, there is only enough to get to Ascension 4 if you farm every single one of these. As to get to Ascension 4, you need a total of 63 of the materials, I believe, and there's only 76 and 79, respectively, for Cyno and Candace there, of their materials. So you'll have a little bit left over, and when they respawn, you'll be able to go ahead and get them to Ascension 5. So just keep that in mind. If you get to the Ascension 4 marker on them, I would likely just relax there and wait for them to actually respawn. Also, I mentioned that some of the Scarabs are underground and locked behind a long side quest. What side quest am I talking about? I'm talking about these side quests called Golden Slumber, which you're going to be able to start here in Aru Village. There's going to be like a blonde guy standing here. He's going to have some quest for you. Just follow that quest and it'll inevitably lead you underground to an area to actually find the underground Scarabs. That also gives you access to this tool that you can use to solve a bunch of puzzles. So it's a pretty worthwhile quest overall, and you'll likely need to do it at some point. And from what I understand, you don't really need to do any of the Archon quests to unlock these Scarabs. I did the entirety of the Archon quests first, and I thought that might lead me to the underground, and it didn't. It was actually this side quest, so just remember that one. So now I briefly just want to talk about what should be done about this. This is the second time in a row it's been quite the hassle to farm out for a character, and I'm really not opposed to farming out for characters. I don't really mind it that much, except for when it's in a brand new region that I have to go and try to circumvent all the fun of actually exploring in order to most efficiently farm for the character, because I want to use the brand new character. So going out and going for the materials and ignoring all the cool puzzles and the kind of newness to the region really lessens the fun of the exploration. As just keep in mind, as I have the good majority of teleport points here in the region now, and I've unlocked the entirety of the map. I have all the statues of the 7, and I feel like I've barely done anything. Like I've done substantially more now since I was farming, but when I started, I was ignoring pretty much everything and anything that I could just to get the materials faster. I think what they should have done for this is release these characters in the second half of the update, as Nilo requires Patisaras for her ascension material, and another new boss that just came out in 3.1. But at least with the Patisaras, we could have farmed beforehand in 3.0 at least a little bit in order to level her up and make her usable in our worlds. And while her banner was going, we could have farmed the materials for Candace and Cyno here and then been ready for them whenever they came out in the second half. But having them come out in the first half just kind of ruined some of the exploration experience, at least for people like me who want to play their new characters, because they'd have to go out and farm for the materials a lot. Like it's a lot. You have to go through the whole region. And just a FYI, some of you might be asking, well, how have I already seen all these build guides, because it's so hard to get these materials right? Well, understand a lot of content creators have access to the test servers for the Genshin Impact because they're official Genshin Impact content creators. So they get access to pretty much fully leveled versions of these characters and everything they need in order to make their build videos and everything before the patch even comes out. And while that can be annoying for some smaller content creators who can't get in the program or anything, that's a whole topic for another different video, and the reality is that it's pretty difficult to get all these materials. So I guess in the end, my advice is to just take your time, as it's going to take a lot of time to farm these anyway, so you might as well save yourself some sanity and just do it at your own pace. Explore how you want to, but if you're like me and you wanted to get these characters to be usable as soon as possible, you're likely going to be going through quite the ordeal in order to do so. Hopefully this helped you out and hopefully saved you some time and frustration by warning you about some of the difficulties of farming these materials before you actually went out and did so. But overall, these characters are really fun and cool, and I'm really excited to bring you some videos about them. And 3.1 as a whole has been really cool, and I'm really excited to make some more videos regarding it. But I did want to go ahead and put this out there. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Thanks for tuning in and watching. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.